number 4 of this amazing combine here today. Cito.gg willing to put on this amazing show with a lot of fantastic future involvement currently on the line for a lot of these players. Specifically, I believe about 5 to 10 of them are looking at a possible venture into that scene that they have so been hoping for. And right now, closing out this week 1, or getting close to the end of week 1, we're getting in with another set of fresh faces. My name is Order, with me is Quacks, and we'll be your casters for the next 3 games. Quacks, this is going to be fun.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a blast. And game number 1 is going to be, regular as per usual. Game number 2 and 3 gonna have a little bit of a twist on them. We are going to be mocking up, similar to what I believe was done yesterday, a Worlds draft, and this time I believe it is going to be Team Liquid versus Pain Gaming. So if you want to get a little bit of a head start, see what the teams did, see what the drafts are, then you could go ahead and watch that VOD. But for the time being, it is everything goes. You can play whatever you want. You can ban whatever you want. You can go absolutely buck wild. And we've got some players that have been known to go absolutely buck wild in the competitive scene. In particular, I'm looking at the Dragoon squad and I'm thinking, you're going to have to reel these guys in on a leash, because if not, they are fully unchained and they're going to go at you like a rabid dog.
I mean, you got Dragoon, you got Bio, you got Dark Wings, you got Sushi, and you got Mixture. I mean, Dark Wings, of course, kind of one. At least I'm a mid laner, so I'm sitting there like Dark Wings is like, yo, let's go. And you yourself, Quacks, you were listing out the fact that for this squad, it is going to be oh so important for them to kind of show their stuff. I mean, these are some of the veterans here in the AM scene, and you look on the other side, you got Hoarder, Will, 5 Mini, Good Boy, and Enthralled, and then that mid lane, Dark Wings is like, yo, all right, kind of fresh meat. I don't want to say fresh meat too fully, but 5 Mini is going to have some showing up to do.
I mean, there's a reason we call it the Dark Wingdom. This guy has been known to take down player after player, org after org. He is the current CLOL champion. Slew Dark Wings is the man into the mid lane, and he is especially good on those mages, right? Which is a meta that we're kind of transitioning more into. We had our time with the marksman. We also have got the Yone around, which I believe Dark Wings is also very proficient on. But you know him with the Syndra, you know him with the Orianna, you know him with the Hui. A lot of these champions, he makes them just look a lot more oppressive than they actually are. And I think in the case of Mini, a player that is super duper new to the scene at large, really the first big thing that he has been in and is still currently in is the ACL on that CCG Glorp squad, surrounded by talent in the Dark and the Dragon Steel capacity. Now, though, you strip that away, you get some of that cohesion down, some of that synergy, and it's no longer with him, and he is going to have to go against arguably a top 3 mid in the amateur scene as a whole. So it's a big task, it's a tall task, but by Mini, he's the mage man, he's the new kid on the block, and I believe he's got the ability to do it.
I would hope so. I mean, considering what we are going to see, you mentioned it earlier, the fact that we are going to see some world drafts, both sides will be playing both sides of the coin as well. This actually highlights a lot of importance. I mean, these players, you should know these meta compositions, you should know these champions as well. And that's why this game number 1, flex your wings a little bit, no pun intended, and then get down to the meat and muscles at the end. Right now in game 1, we already do see those bans being drafted out. You got the Ezreal, you got the Orianna, and you got the Aurora. These are pretty much standard. I mean, the Orianna and Aurora, of course, just don't want to deal with the Rengar and the Darius. I love throwing some love over to the side of Dragoon's Goons. I can't believe I'm saying that name. And then the Ashe for red side ban as well.
Yeah, and it's looking like I was thinking we might snatch up the Syndra. We highlighted the importance of the mid lane matchup, but the Skarner, equally as important, right? You look at the junglers across the board, and it's similar. It's kind of a similar story, right? You've got sort of a well-established player in Wilt going against a somewhat new guy in Bio, who has been really known to be a consistent player. If you look at him on the Ducky Getters, he was by far their most consistent piece, even when they had crazy off-meta drafts, even when they went absolutely wild in the bans and picks phase. He always seemed to be able to bring the team back from the brink of what looked like a defeat. So I'm looking at him this time as he is going to be, I believe, he's going to be the one piloting the Skarner. Will be on that Sejuani plus that Yone. So a lethal combo, a very good mid-jungle combo. And that's where a lot of the questions are going to lie. How good is the mid-jungle duo for both of these squads, and can they bring their team to a victory?
I think that even highlights, this is almost like a mini precursor to the fact that we are going to be seeing games 2 and 3 of the day revolve around that jungle mid battery. Like that was the entire compositions between TL and the likes of I don't want to say the name because I feel RMC might kill me, later on. Let's just put it that way. But taking a look at things, the Cassante headed towards that top side. Very understandable. Dragoon once again heading up that lineup and saying, hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that tank, and I like this. Being that brusque kind of playmaker alongside the Skarner, this is a well-rounded early front line for the squad.
For sure, but you do need some oomph, right? You need some damage backing up behind this strong front line. So I like what they're going for. They're immediately going to pivot into the AD carry pick because they realize damage is key at this point. They don't want to risk getting some of those damage healers taken away, some of those important pieces that can round out your comp. So a good pick overall. I will say I am a little bit worried that this champion is immobile. You're going against Sejuani, who has a bunch of pick tools. You're going against Yone, who also has a bunch of pick tools. And now the Gwen being the lock-in means that you are not going to be able to hit her. Gwen is immune. Get the Gwen copy pastas in there while you can. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult job for the Varus. I definitely think Sushi will have his work cut out for him. But he's a very competent AD carry, so I think if anyone can pull it off, if we're looking at any amateur ADC to do it, it definitely is going to be him.
And the fact that we're now seeing kind of I want to say a shifted draft here, bot lane probably going to be pinched out a little bit on both sides with that support bans, but the ADC role could also be collapsed in on Good Boy now watching as, hey, I know I'm going up against that Varus. We got to deal with some other options though in case we do see those bans fly out. There's the Kaisa. It is understood. You don't want to allow that get in composition to go even further into the dive, but the rel denial tool being drafted away from the likes of Dragoon's goons, saying, yeah, we don't continue to have that snowball, that giant rock bowling into our face. We just can't let it happen.
And I actually wonder if we're going to be seeing what ADC we're going to be seeing on the side of the Hoarder squad, because this is a bit of a difficult one. Ordinarily, you would want something with mobility against a champion like the Varus, right? You don't want to get hit by that ultimate. You don't want to get picked off by the Skarner. So I'm thinking something like a Zeri might be in the cards. But then you look at Skarner, he goes through walls. You go over the wall, he follows you. Cassante can throw you through a wall. So there's just a lot of, I would say, wall action going on here. And I'm not sure Zeri is going to be the immediate response, even though I would like it to be on the cards for this, especially with, like you said, Good Boy gonna have to sort of match the aggression in the bot lane. Is the Jhin going to be the last taken off the table? I do have to imagine you just want to snag up that AD carry and give the support counter pick, and it's going to be the Kog'Maw. So we might not actually get an engage support this time around, Orbital. We might get something more in line with a enchanter, because that's what Kog'Maw's really good with.
And I actually really like that, because you take a look at where the focus that they've drawn into. They said, hey, bot lane, we can already ban out engage. We don't have to worry about that. We have this as Sejuani and the Gwen. What I'm curious about is the fact that they had 5 mini on that Yone and saying, hey, we're going to be fine with it. We don't even need to ban another mid laner, because granted, you can't really ban out Dark Wings, I'm sorry to say. But you also know where it's going to be rounded to. So you say, hey, we give a lot of that credit over to Dark Wings. We're going to focus on the bot side and play through a different angle. And I like that respect factor given over. You say, hey, the Syndra is going to come out here. You still have that oomph as well for the side of Dragoon's goons. And now we get to see that support roll out here. Leona, I believe, is still on the table, which if you're looking for engage, could roll forward. But I mean, I don't know if you want to chance that into the likes of a Gwen of Sejuani, like so much counter. And you're actually going to go for the Bard. Okay, mixture.
Okay, I am really interested in this comp now. I would expect the Lulu to easily be the ban here. Kog'Maw Lulu is an insane combo. You pair it up with Sejuani as well, who's going to want to get into the thick of every single fight, and that ultimate, the Wild Growth, going to be a huge commodity in a lot of those 5v5s. This Bard, though, you know this champion for the roaming, right? You know him to go to other lanes. He's the wandering caretaker. So I like what you mentioned about other avenues of carrying Orbital besides just that bot lane, because I certainly think that's what we're seeing from the side of Dragoon's goons. We're going to see this Bard go to the mid lane. We're going to see him go up toward the top lane. We're going to see him help get that push for those grubs in particular. And we're going to deny a lot of that side lane presence that some of these champions, specifically the solo laners on Hoarder squad, want to get done, because this is a very scary 3-item sort of comp that has been drafted on this red side here. You got Gwen with 3 items, horrifying. Yone with 3 items, horrifying. Kog'Maw with 3 items, enjoy your time with a gray screen. So it certainly is going to be up to, I would say, the Dragoons Goons to get those early objectives, those early Drakes, those early Grubs, have the Bard roam up and just establish pressure the moment you hit the ground.
And with that in mind, you also take a look on the other side for the Hoarders. You say, okay, well, how are they going to deny that tool? They have so many pieces to, if they can alleviate the early game pressure of this Bard, you actually have a really solid, like, this is straight up team fight. Like, I look down the line, I see no other thing beside it. It's literally you safe lane for about 20 to 25 minutes. You don't care about the Bard. You just pray you don't get Bard ulted. And just like you said, you roll through the 3 items. I would even say 2. Honestly, we know how scary Yone can be. We know how scary Gwen can be with just 2 items. You don't need to wait. The only 3 items that I would sit there and say is the Kog'Maw. Like, Kog'Maw's the only one that I'm like, I really want 3. Maybe more, but I mean, 3 with the Lulu is perfect. So
sure.
it's very interesting to see this kind of decisive shift of, we have the Yone, we already powered through, and now we draft out that bottom lane. So as much as the Dragoons are sitting there going, yeah, we got to establish that Bard early, it's such a haymaker in there, I feel like the Hoarders are more than happy with that.
For sure. And I think that it falls on you getting that early game pressure on this blue side to be able to get a win con off. Because, I mean, I look at them in comparison to the late game of the red side that we have already, kind of highlighted a bunch on. I find it really difficult to see a world where the Varus or the Syndra live more than 5 seconds in certain parts of the map. This feels like such a difficult kind of comp to play into. So I want to see Bio on this Skarner really put his eggs, put his chips in the mid lane basket. We know Darkwings can carry on this Syndra. If you can get this magic damage user, this magic damage behemoth in the meta right now ahead, then I think you're sitting really good. It provides you disengage, it provides you damage, it provides you an execute, which could be really nice, especially against champions like the Yone, who could go for a soul unbound, hit them with the funny button in the R key, and suddenly they're a goner. So getting those picks is going to be vital, and those picks start with the Syndra. They start with the Skarner, and they start in the early game, because that is really where I'm looking at both of these squads to establish that presence, right? We talked about the Bard, but I think the Syndra also needs to get good footing if it wants to survive even some of these later exchanges.
The flip side of that as well is the fact that Will and Fi Mini are running a very, we want this lane ahead as well, just as much as we want to see Darkwings carry on. If you have a Yone, belay that, any sort of heavy aggression in that mid lane, I would pray that you are communicating with your jungler, hey, we want to get ahead. We literally picked this Yone to get ahead. Will is someone that I think everyone has kind of said, hey, is a pretty good jungler here, has the repertoire behind it as well. We want to see that Sejuani make those early movements. Yes, you want to hit level 6, but with how much emphasis you are laying down with that Skarner, which I 100% believe is true, I'm actually really worried if Will is not willing to step up to that same level of aggression. Either get the wards down, help out, make sure the Yone has a good time in the mid lane, because 5 Mini has got to see this as a challenge. I can only expect they're going to be dueling pretty dang heavily early on, whether the champions allow it or not.
This is kind of a difficult matchup for Yone without that jungle help as well. Syndra at that point kind of just outranges you. You go for any sort of combo and she'll just hit you with the scatter the weak, and the fight, the exchange is completely disengaged, right? And not only that, but she probably is going to get extra damage whether she runs the Aerie or the electrocute, or hell, even extra gold if they actually decide to go that first strike. So it's a win-win for Syndra for most of this laning phase. Level 6 is when I would say it starts to swing in Yone's side of the pendulum. But I think if we're looking at that early aggression, like you mentioned, Orbital, if we're looking at this Sejuani to establish that early game presence, it's got to be pre-6, right? You've got to look for opportunities before then. You've got to make sure that you have push on that side of the map, because you're automatically assuming Syndra is going to be shoving in this Yone under the tower, bullying him from range. So you are the one that has to change that. And hell, I would even look at Enthralled as well. I believe this is the first Enchanter game we have seen him on to roam on up toward that mid lane as the Lulu, try and set up some assistance. If they can get kind of a 3-pronged attack with them coming from both rivers and then the Yone coming from the mid lane, I think it is going to be a really nice setup to get a foothold in that mid lane. So I think that lane easily the most important in these early phases. Past that, though, it's the side lanes, baby. Getting that gold toward your carries, making sure those grubs are being made to good use, and stacking those dragons. Because both of these squads, while we're harping on the late game of the Hoarder squad, I would say the late game of the Dragoons Goons also has merit with the Syndra stacks and the Varus 3 items as well. Those are some lethal carries. I just think it takes a lot more effort to get them ahead than on the other side.
I would actually 100% agree as well. You know, we're and I don't mean to sound like a broken record. At this point, we've hit every single lane avenue except one, which actually highly affects that grub take. You just mentioned the ability to take these towers, to take these pieces of the towers around and around. Dragoon and Hoarder are going to have their own work cut out for them. The Cassante versus the Gwen is one that I think leads into a little bit of a skill matchup. Granted, we don't have the new champion on the Rift as much as I wish, because good lord, that what was it, 5-6 dashes pretty easy. I'm just like
a dash after every single ability, I believe.
Don't. As a mid lane mage player myself, I'm like, I'm crying on the inside already. But either way, Dragoon and
As a jungler, I'm crying on the outside.
All right, listen, we'll both just cry in pain as well. So,
we will.
Taking a look at things though, Dragoon and Hoarder, I think we're leaving them alone a little bit too much. Both of these players also have the capabilities of stepping up to the plate, creating a lot of pressure on their own. And honestly, I'm actually looking at Hoarder more. We're talking about the side lanes. I want to see the Gwen get off to a really great start as well if you want to utilize the likes of a Sejuani gank behind it. Even though we're talking about Yone in the mid lane, is there priority in the top side, in your opinion, for this squad, for the Hoarders?
I mean, I think on the side of the Hoarder squad, I wouldn't say so, right? Unless you're seeing a lot of action from Bio on that top side, which we've kind of already established is most likely not going to be the case. We expect Bio to visit on toward that bot lane, go for those dragons more than going for those grubs. They'll try to get the grubs, obviously, but for the most part, I actually think the Gwen perfectly fine being left alone, right? Unless it gets fully focused down. It's got the Hallow Mist. It's most likely going to run the Ghost as well, so it's got that ability to dash out, get out, speed out, however it wants to be told. So I think for the most part, we aren't going to be seeing a lot of action toward the top side. I will also say, Cassante definitely going to be kind of the apex predator in this lane matchup, at least until we see one items. Cassante, with that ultimate, you can never count it out. Even a Gwen with its own ultimate, with a fully stacked passive, with all of that true damage in her kit, no match for that champion once it hits with that Grasp of the Undying plus the All Out. So not a lot of attention, I would imagine, being paid up toward the top side, but it certainly is kind of a Gwen having to wait until the Cassante is marginally weaker than her item-wise.
Yeah, that's a rough spot to be in as well. Hoarder just saying, okay, how patient can you play? Are you able to play as weak side? And many would say yes, but at the same time, it's still yet to be seen. And honestly, that leads in, to me at least, looking into that game 2 and 3, where we do see them put on specific champions, and how are you going to overcome that? I mean, obviously, there's only so much you can do on the Rift, but for a little bit of funsies, because I personally love seeing, especially in these combines, players flex. Obviously, we want to see Dark Wings and 5 Mini flex out as much as possible, but where do you think First Blood is going to come down, Quacks? Because, I mean, even though we know the mid-late's scary, I want to know where First Blood's going to come from.
I think the first drop of blood is going to be in that bot lane, personally, because there's 4 people that have the potential to die down there instead of 2. So that's my straw. Anytime I'm asked that question, I always think, you know, maybe it's my solo queue PTSD coming back to me, but I think it's the bot lane. You can't finish your full clear without someone down there dying. So I think we're going to see some action going on there, especially because it's looking like it's a Syndra bot lane and a Varus mid. So the Bard plus the Syndra, a lot of setup, right? Able to punish some of those weaker champions in the early game and just really get the setup and the lockdown going. This is a comp that you lay down the CC, you lay down the damage, you take a big chunk out of Good Boy and Enthralled, and they're going to be worse for it. So I still think the bot lane, we're probably going to see that first blood come out.
All right, well, still bot lane, yes, we'll roll into that, but this also changes, I wonder if this changes our mindset as well, because we did set up the fact that it's a Syndra versus Yone, Syndra range and everything like that. Varus, of course, still brings a little bit of range behind, but the damage output, I think, has a little bit of a different piece of the puzzle. I mean, we're looking at that press the attack on there. Do you think this is going to be a big shape up, or is this going to still be the exact same, you know, outrange for Dark Wing, just play it out smart in 5 Mini, looking for that chance after you get pushed under tower? Of course, those are questions that we are hopefully going to be answering here as we get into game number 1 here on the day. Let's go. Let's get this combine started.
Hitting the ground running on Summoner's Rift. And I like that you mentioned maybe how this swap is going to impact some of the lane priority going forward here in this game number 1. And I certainly think that it is actually going to be Fine Mini smiling the most. I think this is definitely a good win out for the Yone. Sure, you're going against a ranged matchup. Sure, the Varus is certainly going to be oppressive, especially with that press the attack keystone, but you've got the healing from your keystone, you've got the teleport, you've got the ability to also play more aggressive, right? Varus doesn't have that same disengage that the Syndra does. So if you can land a good combo onto Darkwings, if you can get that knockup on and really start to make him feel the hurt, then he's not going to be as responsive as, say, something like a Syndra, as it's already being a hell of a lot responsive on the top side here.
I love it. I love it. Listen, you got to give those checks. As top laners, you have to give the respectful kind of checks in here. Of course, Hoarder might have overstepped, but honestly, pushing the limits is what you want to do. You only have Ghost, though, and no one else coming around, so Ghost to quickly pop out. So Dragoon, of course, did get, I think it was like 2 procs of the grass, so 2 and a summoner spell. Yeah, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and both sides also getting some wards down as well, so they will be able to track where the jungler is. Obviously, you can see that ward from the side of the Hoarder squad. They got the ward on toward those Raptors, which Bio is starting away from. So they won't spot the Skarner right away, but they will be able to track where he is going. Will, a very experienced jungler, has played through meta, through seasons, through teams and players alike. This is a very storied jungler in this game. So if I trust anyone to be able to track where junglers are, to be able to really put the macro on this team, it's definitely going to be him.
And you're hoping to utilize that piece of information. We just mentioned the likes of some of this damage output and the fact that as that Sejuani, you do want to be in that forefront. You might need to make a little bit of a faster move. And with how these lanes are also shaking up, you can see Sushi and Mixture getting poked out a little bit thanks to that auto attack range of Good Boy. Topside, Hoarder and Dragoon have not stopped at all, by the way. I didn't think they were. That's another grass. Hoarder is just down to first blood.
Hoarder just getting taken down. And I mean, look at the wave. Dragoon is going to do a little bit of minion trimming, but it is going to be, I believe, a slow push. So it's going to bounce back to him. He's not going to lose anything at the end of the day. Hoarder now losing some minions, losing that Ghost, losing that TP means that this Cassante really laying the hurt. We talked about the early game trades and how they go in the favor of Cassante, and this is why, Orbital. It's because he just has the cooldowns, has the combos, and Gwen can do nothing about it.
Understanding the champions and respecting their damage output is something that we would hope, everyone is able to do. And in this instance, maybe you just overcalculated. So we'll have to see if it does tend to roll out ever further. As of course, Dragoon was able to get that kill. Are you able to make use of it? And you are being able to recall right now. Pick up that Negatron cloak and the boots. Meanwhile, the junglers are meeting on this bot side. You can see Good Boy and Enthralled going in chance him, but the junglers are actually meeting in the river, saying hello to the scuttle.
But it is red side priority. Bio is going to go in for the crab anyway. I mean, he gets it, but now he's surrounded. Has the flash, though.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to flash over and actually by Mini, who was a little bit low, but that's going to be the burn as well. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes your life. Good Boy is now going to get caught out as well. And right now, the Goons are going ahead and taking away a few buckets on the far end, though. Enthralled is able to get Skarner's life, but Darkwings is about to come out with a huge chunk of their own. It's so early in the game that we're already seeing the TP back as 5 Mini is like, yo, I'm right back into the mix. However, Mixture wants a little piece of the puzzle. Are you able to get it? No. So instead, everyone recalls, and it's still the likes of the Hoarders that come out worse for wear.
For sure. Really good trade coming out there from the Dragoons, Goons, and a lot of it paying tribute toward a Bio. It looked like he was surrounded, but flashes back toward Darkwing's position, baits all of the members of Hoarder's Horde in to try and kill him. And while they do succeed in their mission, they give over a lot of damage, a lot of gold, and a lot of resources to the Varus, which is something that we do not want to see if we are on the side of Hoarder's Horde. That is a very dangerous champion to get going because the rest of them really have the scaling game going for them, right? You don't necessarily need to put all of the gold onto the Syndra. You don't need all of the gold onto the Cassante. You need gold on Varus, and boy, oh boy, is he getting it.
Of course, Mixture for their own roaming has not been allowed to roam out as much as you would like. You do have a kill for your name, but being put in check by Good Boy and Enthralled does show that they are giving a lot of respect over to that champion, that B5 pickup. Topside, though, Hoarder is still in a rough spot.
I mean, it's going to be rough for Hoarder until he gets the first item. We can see he's just trying to farm up what he can, and he still has somewhat of a CS lead, but with that kill, it certainly is padding the gold in favor of Dragoon at the current moment. Now he's going to be forced to recall, doesn't have the teleport, meaning that Dragoon can shove that wave in, cause this Gwen to miss resources, and you're just setting this late game win con behind even more.
I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon either. Sushi and Mixture still just trying to clear the lanes and honestly getting some good poke down. But with the warding, Good Boy is more than okay pushing this up. Take a look. The trifecta of ward vision means that Bio is not going to have an easy access point to this bot lane, which is why we're seeing Good Boy be willing to push up so far, take that trade, and sit on 25% HP.
And I think that's also why we're seeing Bio roam on up, right? He realizes he has topside priority. He realizes there's a lot of vision being established toward that bot side. So he can't really look for a gank. He can't really look to punish the flashless Kog'Maw. But maybe he can look to punish this.
Quacks, what were you saying? Literally just that is the biggest punish out there, I think.
Yeah. That's rough, especially because the Yone doesn't have the teleport, so now it's going to have to be Will catching this wave, and because he's catching the wave, it gives Bio a chance to go for this objective. They're going to get the grubs for free. It's likely not even going to be traded on. We usually see when these grubs are taken, the dragon focused by the other team, but there's no chance for that, so it is just a kill, a heist of grubs. They get away with 2 big advantages and push their lead even further.
Of course, for the Goons, you got to sit there and go, this is within some expectations. After the early engagements, the fact that Dark Wings was... Okay, Hoarder. Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, my... I have... This is...
Cassante copy pasta. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Cassante moment. And Dragoon is really making, I think, Showmaker and all the Cassante haters hate their lives because he gets to shove in again. Will, not even going to play cleanup duty. The Gwen is walking back to the lane, so he doesn't have to pick up the wave, which means it's going to be free plates, 2 free plates over to the Cassante, 2-0. Doesn't really lose much either with this clean reset. Doesn't have the teleport, but doesn't even need it. The lanes just across the board for the Dragoons. Goons are absolutely smashing these first 8 minutes.
I don't think it's going to stop either. I mean, this is the composition that we did say they don't have a... They have a late game. They don't have the best, we assume, because of the Kog'Maw and the Lulu on the other side, so they want to push their advantages. Sushi, though, does have Flash, is able to get away if you so wish, but on the mid lane is actually where we're watching. That's a Chain of Corruption. Underneath this 5 mini went way too far, and Will is now getting drawn into it. This labeling of power, this gamble to try and get more damage down is not working for the side of the Hoarders.
It's an 0-3 Yone at 8.5 minutes, and Sushi might just be dead.
Ooh. So close right there. And honestly, Sushi has to leave. I don't think he can stay up here. That's going to be another artillery to come out here. And it's a very dangerous spot. Sushi is just trying to dance to make sure they can clean up this wave a little bit more. Mixture is now here to run interference. But of course, I don't know how much they can do. Ignite down. I love that. Throw the Ignite down. Just be like a giant bully. But guess what? Will's on the wings. But with that push, it's going to be okay. Good Boy and Enthralled take control of the bottom lane. Uh-oh. There's the bar, though. I was wondering about this one. Sushi, can you step up? Another stun in the wall, but Sushi doesn't want to work. Sushi doesn't want to step up because Enthralled missed. Sushi able to stay alive, get the kill. Mixture can now chase. Flash up for Good Boy, but a flash means you are safe. Good Boy is not going to watch as Will comes in to clean it up. Will's going to take the shortest barred portal in the world to try and get Sushi as well, but Sushi has stayed alive this entire time. There's the living artillery, the last bit of mana behind. Bio, now, can you get some revenge? It's a consolation prize at the end of the day, but honestly, that flash forward should secure the kill. Bio takes one back.
Throws the rock in his face, it misses, but then he chucks a rock, slams it onto the Kog'Maw's head. The Kog'Maw goes down, and that was a turbulent bot lane exchange if ever I've seen one, but it's kills finally going over to Hoarder's Horde on this red side, finally getting some gold, finally getting some resources. They get traded back at the end of the day, but at this point, if I'm red side, I'm taking whatever I can get.
I think that is the truest statement ever. I mean, Good Boy and Enthralled pushing up, saying we need to get this kill, and they did on Sushi, but it was a labored task, and they still weren't able to grab any of the global objectives. You are correct. They are angling for anything and everything.
Oh
my! Because this top side is gone. Dragoon tower dies again. It happened so fast that we didn't even show Hoarder's death.
That's the second time we've actually missed a solo kill from Dragoon, and I think it just speaks to the fact that when production isn't able to catch a kill, it's not supposed to happen. This K'Sante is not supposed to be getting these many kills in the laning phase.
In the mid lane, it's a whole piece of the pie. Darkwing's able to flash away with some wings of such to keep them safe. I can't believe they're alive. 5 mini now very upset about this one. There's in the barn.
Mixture.
Go ahead, catch 2. How many more are you going to impale? You are going to grab 2. That's a drawback. Will's going to try and get revenge, but it's not going to happen. Darkwing powers through with a double kill. Arrows piercing lives.
And there we go, the Dark Wingdom going strong, sieging the tower, sieging this early game. And what a follow-up from a Mixture. He gets the Tempered Fate, they combo it with the Impale. They say, you're not going anywhere to 5 mini and Will. And now Enthralled and Good Boy, they might not be going anywhere.
Nah, this is the ramp up and find out moment. Sushi is getting punished right now, but the range is really not there. Sushi is sidestepping everything. The arrows is gonna land at the end. Sushi is gonna recall, but I don't think they're gonna live. That was a little bit of BM, but well worth as well. Good Boy gets the constellation kill at the end.
And it was Hoarder having to catch that mid wave. So much happening on the bot side, but the top side now, even worse for Where. Dragoon gonna take down this first turret with those 6 grubs, not even 12 minutes into the game. K'Sante already having that first item. Rookerin complete, so a lot of the damage being negated, not just from the Gwen, but the mixed damage of the Yone and of the Kog'Maw as well. Substantially being put down with that item. And yeah, look at the gold difference. Nearly 3,000, and turret plates haven't even dropped, Orbital.
No, this is brutality, but honestly, this is what we want to see out of a squad that has gotten such a hefty lead early on. Factor in that first kill that they got, plus Dragoon smashing it in the top side. You would expect this level of play, even with the needlework. I don't think it's going to matter here. This is going to be a slice and a half. There's another slam, dash one more. Hoarder is actually running away from the Hoarder gold that they were hoping to pick up.
Will is on his way.
And I think Will's just going to be like, how can I help out? Hoarder, though, chasing back towards their own tower, leaving it up to Will to try. But Dragoon still has a chance. Another slap and a flash over the wall. Bio comes in to help out. Might as well make it. A piece of the pie. In goes that Glacial Prison, but really isn't going to work. That just tethers you up for another fight as 5 mini is going to get impaled. Oh, my God. Deja vu from the mid lane. Dragoon's like, 2 more? Bring it right to my arms here. Another slam back means that the Heartbreaker is going to do nothing. The Fate Sealed says no. Honestly, at this point, 5 mini is just a walking minion. You cannot do much. A tether against the wall. Again, Mixture saying, please give me some love. Enthralled and Good Boy are here, but they can't get over the wall. They don't want to be. Bio is now running for their life, saying, okay, the living eternally kind of hurts. I don't want to deal with this one. Beautiful job. Mixture is able to try and hold them off, but no, it's not going to happen in time. Down goes the Lulu, though, as over the wall. Everyone's over the wall, by the way. Everyone's just like off camera, just firing away all their missiles. Darkwing was able to pick up a kill on the back end as well.
And it's basically everybody in the game getting involved in that topside scuffle. Lots of gold going
except for one.
But Sushi, Giga Chad that he is on the Syndra, he was busy making the grill, going for the CS, and now suddenly the Syndra resetting has those Sork shoes in inventory along with their first item, that being the Luden's Companion. So the win cons starting to stack up on each other, Orbital. We were saying it was just Dragoon, but now Darkwings, he's 6-0. This is a Syndra that has a bunch of resources, a bunch of gold, and that's a win con in itself. Minute by minute that passes, you know, you get closer toward that Splinter stack becoming an execute, and it just feels so difficult as now Enthralled is caught.
I love this so much. Flashes over the wall, but another rock to the back of the head means that you can't really do much. Bio just going to walk by. Scout of the week over the wall, just barely eclipses Enthralled. You are going to die. Now another sound on the Good Boy as they are stuck. The spot lane is gone as this is the Goons just running the show, and I love it, by the way, that they have 4 gone. Hitting Dragon.
Yeah.
They have 4 gone. Looking at the tail until just now, they are saying we know we're ahead. We know we can take any fights. The global objectives are that just an extra prize.
And they're just pushing their lead through fights, right? They're pushing their lead through aggression. They don't waste their tempo going for these objectives. Now there's a little bit of downtime because Good Boy is gone, because so many of them have to be on the side lanes. Hoarders forward have to essentially just pick up any of the pieces that they can. That gives them a little bit of an opportunity to get some CS, potentially get this dragon as well. But I mean, this is Sejuani, not exactly known for those objective, not exactly known for taking objectives quickly. So this might not actually work, but he goes undetected. He's undetected at the moment until Mixture drops the ward, notices the dragon is missing.
Should be a smite. You're able to take it away, but will you lose your life for it? I mean, this is a pretty dang strong Darkwing's good flash away. Hoarder using that shroud to make sure you are safe. Price has been paid though, because take a look at the routing. Pretty much everyone on the side of Goons is checking out either mid or bot side. Dragon is taken though, again, as I said, but Bio is just like, please give us something. You don't get that dragon for free. Even though you have a shield on, Good Boy, I don't think he's gonna get away, but Sushi is actually not as strong as we were hoping. Flashing away from the side, so Good Boy has a chance to escape and will. Now Enthralled has a chance to scout away. Once again, Mixture came in for the cleanup. Tower dive in T1. Double kill for the B5 pickup. Mixture showed up.
Mixture 5-1 on the bar. This is the attack part. This is the other side of being a support. Sometimes you got to give the kills over to your teammates. Sometimes your teammates just have so many kills that you're saying, hey, let's spread the wealth a little bit. So now Bard gets himself a double kill. They're going to siege down this mid lane. They're going to open up the map wide open, and now they're going to spread over to bot lane. This is a beautiful rotation coming from them. They have always been first to the punch, and Hoarder is only lacking behind, and he might be found.
Oh, yes, he will, and his EP coming in as well, though. This is going to be the Hoarders trying to make a last-ditch effort. Mixture is going to go down here. That's an early kill, but Vitamin misses on the Fate Sealed and doesn't get Sushi in the back line because of that chain of crossing comes out, and they are going to tether up Enthralled with their own death, as they will be annihilated. Dragoon taking things up. The arrows to fire ever further. Dark Wings gets them help, lifts it up on the updraft of the rest of the team, and the tower will finally fall. 5 Mini, though, might get some revenge. Too many tower shots tanked as Dragoon, 500 armor, 500 backwards is way too much HP, is going to run for their life. Hard-pressed battle, and honestly, the fact that it's a 3-for-4 and only a tower loss is wild that Hoarders are still able to get those kills.
I mean, the tower was the MVP of that exchange. It stayed alive for so long that it basically kept every one of Dragoon's goons just trying to hit it and take it down. So 5 Mini managing to lay down some damage, get some gold back on this Yone, and at this point, anything is desperately needed, right? Not just kills, but towers, objectives, assists, any little scrape of gold of CS that you can get is going to help, because they are so desperately down here in this game. It's an over 10,000 gold difference. Not even 20 minutes in, by the way. This is the definition of a stomp. This is a stomp if ever I've seen one.
Honestly, I would really want to see the likes of Dragoon's Goons just go, hey, let's go ahead and try and finish this off in the next like 3-4 minutes. Do we really need Baron either? Probably not. Honestly, if they didn't push that tower on the bot side, I feel like they could have easily just kind of walked it in, taken it down, and then watched the fight afterwards. But I love the fact that they're pushing the limits. This is the point to do so. You have so many fed members, and you know that the hyperscalers on the other side aren't doing anything. So you push and push and push some more until you aren't allowed to, because you have that extra safety net underneath you. Right now, you can see all the ward coverage now moving up to the top side as we do wait and see if this Baron is the next one for them.
I mean, it's often said that with tempo, you can make mistakes and still be back into the game. And at this point, I think it's safe to say Dragoon's Goons, they could make 5 mistakes. And I feel like, you know, there's room for more before we start to see any kind of a shift in strength from the Hoarders Horde. That's how far behind they are. Bio and the rest of the squad can do whatever they want. They can push the limits. Like you said, they can go for some of these crazy plays. And that's where I really think we're going to see some of the personality from these players. We're going to see Bio tank up the turret like he did in the mid-tier 1. We're going to see Dragoon potentially go for a 1v2 on the bot side here, as both Will and Hoarder want to try and get him. But this is a 7-0 Cassante.
Honestly, if you see 1v2, I'd actually take it. I would say Dragoon.
I would take it.
It's so close.
The Baron is up. The Baron's about to be up.
I was about to say, that's the whole point. If you see Will, it's like, this is great. Dragoon's like, please, come to me.
Yeah. Send more. Send 3. I don't even think it would matter.
Send them all.
Yeah.
Just send everyone. See what happens.
And it looks like they're sending them all. Here
Oh
we go.
my gosh, they actually
1v2, 1v2.
Dragoon's like, yo, no, stay,
Come on,
Hoarder.
come on,
Stay
Dragoon,
here.
fight it,
Stay
fight
here.
it, fight
Yeah,
it.
knock Will back, we got this. Dragoon's like, yo, guess what's happening on the other side of the map? Guess what's happening on the other side of the map? Because I am going to take the Baron with my team. Dragoon still down, actually about to fall here.
Does
very,
Darkwing's
very low.
TP?
Trying to slice through. It's not going to live, but 4 Baron buffs up.
It's 4 Baron buffs. It's a shutdown going over to Hoarder, but he doesn't have a wave to really work with. Now some of the members, they're not even going to take the reset. They've got the Baron buff, 6 grubs, and a Rift Herald. It is a void party here in game number 1. And the dancing doesn't stop as they're going to march down mid lane. Towers on the side lanes be damned. Dragon up be damned. They want to fight. They want to charge. They want to go in.
Oh, another impale to Chain of Corruption. This combo is so clean. Annihilation of Enthrall. They didn't even have a chance to heal. And now the tower will fall as well. Inhibitor tower down. Inhibitor sure as well.
They don't care about bot lane.
No, they don't.
They don't care
so much.
They literally don't have to respond. They've got the grubs. They've got the Baron. Unless the Gwen resets, this game is just over.
5 seconds left, and that's going to be the call down. Mixture trying to solo off that tower to ensure the fight afterwards. In comes the Gwen. This is going to be that final fight. 5 Mini looking to the back line. Is not able to get Darkwing. Darkwing is allowed to free fire. In goes the Seamstress. The Seamstress is down. The needles are broken. 5 Mini soon to follow. That will be the likes of Dragoon smashing through the rest of the team. Will running for their life, but the Nexus is open and the game is over. Dragoon's Goons take game 1.
And what a game number 1 it was from start to finish. This was clean from the side of the Dragoon's Goons. Every single player understood the assignment, but I have got to give special props to Darkwings. I mean, this guy, Seal Champion, Dark Wingdom, say what you will. This guy, no matter what you give him, it doesn't matter if it's the Syndra, the Varus, the Yone, whatever you hand him, he is just as lethal. And boy, oh boy, eyes on this player to move forward in this Combine because he is going places with performances like this.
And not just that, the rest of the team making sure to fly right alongside. I mean, we talked about Bio really hoping to zone in on that mid lane. We talked about the fact that Sushi and Mixture had a little bit of a rough early start. Well, Bio immediately swapped the side and said, hey, let's go towards that mid lane, really identifying the strengths of the composition, which makes me very excited for the second and third games here today, which means that we are tossing these players into a little bit of a funky mix. Once again, like Quack said earlier, there's going to be a little bit of test for all of them. They'll be playing a couple games with some of our favorite drafts from Worlds so far. Well, namely some. I don't think RMC will be too happy, but we'll go ahead and go to a very short break. And when we come back, games 2 and 3 will be ready to go. Don't go anywhere. Fun's over. Now we get back to the actual classroom work. We are now pitting these teams, Dragoons, Goons, and Hoarders, against the likes of some world-class drafting, which is safe to say very basic drafts. We got a couple drafts here that are going to be really simple. And Quacks, I mean, this is as bare bones as it gets.
For sure, but they, come up with win cons, right? There is a reason to this exercise, but the win cons for both of these squads definitely rely on I would say, advanced tactics, right? With the comps themselves, very basic, right? This is about as front-to-back, teamfight-esque as you could get, but they still have, I would say, their own little unique twists and turns, and I kind of want to take a little bit to establish what those are. Like, on the blue side in particular, you got to get that 4-1 going, right? You've got to make sure this Jax has some, even if it's only one grub, and is, there to go for the side lane, right? Because against a comp with Gnar, Nocturne, and Orianna, you're never out team fighting this comp. You need some form of side lane threat. You need some way to pull a member of the red side squad over to deal with you. Hell, 1 would be good, 2 would be better, and then you can go for a teleport, you can go for a TP flank on the Jax, you can bait them into a fight, and then you can win from there. On the other side, though, it's 5v5. It's front to back. It's the Nocturne Orianna combo, the jungle mid duo that everybody and their mother loves to play during this meta. It doesn't matter if Worlds is 2 patches behind us. This comp is still good. It is still lethal. It is amazing if you, as the mid jungle duo, can really get it down. And I'm really looking forward to seeing sort of how Bio and Darkwings pilot this duo, because last game on that Skarner and on that Varus, they were amazing. They were inseparable. They were making plays together left, right, and center. And on a comp that rewards that, on a duo that kind of furthers that cohesion, I think they'll be really deadly. So there's win cons across the board. I would say for blue side, it's a little bit more difficult. We saw Team Liquid, when they ran this comp against Pain Gaming, have a few struggles around those team fights. And it was only after they had established some side lane threat that they managed to kind of run away with the game and take it from there.
Yeah, there were some moments where we saw just chaos come out. And actually, I'm very curious, because that is if you look at it, that is an answer to one of the biggest questions, which for you was the fact that the Jax needs a good time. And this is actually going to lean into Hoarder as well, I think. Hoarder, obviously, in the matchup previously, we know Hoarder versus Dragoon, it might be a little bit lopsided. This time around, is the team also going to be willing to help out, follow that same path? Have you opted and said, hey, that TL style, that TL answer that they came up with is still the appropriate answer? Are we still going to see that? I'm very curious, because at the same time, we're also going to see the swap in game 3, where we're going to see Hoarder play the other side of the matchup, get that Gnar in their hands.
For sure. And when you're looking at this top side matchup, it certainly does favor the Gnar at the current moment, right? Because Gnar is able to poke you out, range top laner. Everyone loves him. Everyone knows him. Jax, though, if he tries to go on for an engage, chances are Gnar's probably going to take bone plating in this matchup, so that upfront damage from the Jax isn't necessarily there. And then to add on top of that, Gnar can simply jump away, especially he even has more tools once he gets level 6, right? He can shove you, he can stun you, he can also jump away. There are a lot of tools that Gnar has to be able to dissuade any sort of engage you want to go on, while also being to sort of poke you and whittle you down, and most importantly, stop you from side laning. So there is a lot of emphasis on Hoarder versus Dragoon. What we saw in game number 1, definitely not pretty from the side of Hoarder, right? Dragoon had his number on the Cassante. So in a still unfavorable matchup here in game number 2, when we've got Dragoon playing the easier side of it, with the Dragoon playing the more favorable side of it, I think it's going to be up to Hoarder to really shift things around. And I am interested to see, like you said, Orbital, if there is going to be some jungle interference on that top side, because it was not common when we saw this comp be played at Worlds.
Yeah, well, I mean, that also got vastly out of control very, very quickly. So we will not, we'll see how they play it out here. And that's going to be the fun of it. Again, these players have been grinding out games, making sure that they VOD review, make sure to take a look at. This is one of those that's really going to pick their brains. Let's get into our second game of the evening. It is going to be so much fun. Once again, bringing the world's template here to the Path2Pro Combine. I think it's going to be a fantastic time. Already bottlenecked and ready to go. Rushing out onto the Rift, a 5-point possibility coming out for the likes of the Hoarders, who are repping that blue side to this game. And then on the red, it is Dragoon's Goons sprinting to a possible 4-man setup in the top side.
And they're already looking to maybe get something toward the top side. You can see Mixture, Sushi, Dragoon, and Dark Wings all waiting in the wings to potentially get the jump onto this Jax. Bio is in the tri-bush, so they have a nice little pincer, but Hoarder, I have to think, hasn't started an ability yet, so he could potentially just jump away. Yeah, they're not going to be able to find him. But with Hoarder on this top side of the map, that, takes away a very key element of when we saw these comps be played at Worlds, which was the lane swap, right? Team Liquid, who were on the blue side, who were playing this Jax, Impact was on it. He went toward the bot lane. He had to deal with the lane swap. He played it very, very well. So I have to think this time around, we're going to see a much more basic style of it. There's nothing basic about level 1s, though.
Very nice check as well. I like this ideal of, especially with an Orianna, that Orianna is like the key ward early on. You don't have to drop any ward either, but whenever you apply pressure like they were doing for the side of Dark Wings and Dragoon's Goons, you say, hey, if we make a play, we have to be ready to respond. These variables will always be coming out so quickly. So making sure that no extra issues came up, I think is an appropriate first step to nullifying some spiciness that could come about.
And similar to game number 1, the drafts are different, but the level 1s staying relatively the same. Both junglers being tracked in their own jungle. They both started topside, so they are going to be ending up on that bot side of the map. And early on here, especially when you have got that Ignite being rocked by both supports, I would certainly favor the side of Dragoon's Goons in that 3v3. It takes a little bit to get that plasma stacked. Extended fights, I would say, obviously can go the way of Hoarder's Horde, but if we're talking about quick little burst trades, if we're talking about having a Nocturne with all that CC mixed with a Alistar, it certainly feels like it is a winning battle for them. So something to consider, I think, for the side of Hoarder's Horde, how they are going to approach potentially an early fight around this bot side river and the bot side lane.
I mean, considering it's so even, topside, we're still glancing over at this because we were mentioning again, and my eyes are drawn here too, the fact that Dragoon, well, now we can't even talk about bot side is actually where the action's kicking off, as Good Boy has to burn that berry early on, but Enthralled, seeing an opportunity to jump in, actually leaves a little bit of Good Boy alone. Mixture, realizing they're a little bit low, it's kill for kill situation, as Good Boy is still able to get first blood, but Enthralled is not able to protect as Sushi is still full HP, meaning Enthralled might take a little bit too much damage, but that's gonna be another stun into the wall. Minya's doing a lot of work. Sushi flashing forward to the Q, but one more auto could do it. However, you don't have the Q up and available, and the minions are doing way too much work. Sushi rounding things out to go back to farm.
I mean, Sushi trying to get that last kill, very low though, and only level 2. So Enthralled, the level up really saving him. Well played by the Rel. So it's 1 kill for each 80 carry at the current moment. This is kind of how the mid lane matchup is expected to go. Orianna very oppressive with that ball, and Ari not having the damage to really fight back, to bully him back. So it is going to be pushed for the red side, for the Dragoon's Goons, for the time being. And that is going to open up a lot of opportunities for Bio to go for some of these neutrals. The Crab is the most obvious one. He is just going to pick this one up, but then it's going to evolve into things like the Grubs, like the Dragon. So I want to see him utilize that priority, utilize having that extra little bit of space to make some of these early plays and really set up for that combo with Dark Wings later down the line.
I mean, you already have priority. You could be looking at that Dragon as well if you so wish, and a little piece of that puzzle means that with all that control, Bio is just like, yeah, let's go ahead and chase out. Mid lane, though, we're seeing that crash down as Dark Wings is realizing they're in a little bit of a sticky spot. But of course, you have enough HP. You just recalled and TP back in. So Enthralled not able to burn the flash, which in this game I think is going to be pretty dang important come later on.
For sure. The flash, a lot of pick tools off of both squads. So getting picked is going to be the #1 thing both squads will be looking to do, especially in these early phases before team fighting is a really popular thing. So those flashes, that extra safety net, going to be imperative. Losing that, going to be very dangerous. And I have to think that if that is burned, that's essentially just as good as a kill.
I like the fact that Mixture was like, I don't have flash, but I got Hextech. Is that good enough? Literally just Hextech right in the middle, stood the ground and was like, hello. What's up, guys? I love it. You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun sometimes here as well. I mean, all these players invited to play in this Combine, really trying to show their stuff off. And sometimes you gotta have a little bit of that flair and fun.
And I mean, Parth said it himself, this is not about win-loss. This is not about the record you get at the end of these 3 weeks. This is about who you are as a player, your attitude, your ability to adapt, your ability to understand these matchups. And games like these, little exercises like we're seeing today, really emphasize, I would say, all of the qualities that are being looked at in this combine.
Yeah, I mean, also trying to push against the flow of what we know as a
Yep.
standard. Hoarder actually willing to take this 1v1 multiple times and is down in CS, don't get me wrong, but the willingness to step up for these trades where we said the Gnar, it's actually a very heavily Gnar favored matchup. Depending on the outlook that you have, you're saying Hoarder is doing an okay spot. Not the worst, maybe not the greatest, because Dragoon is like, yo, let's chase, let's have a little bit of fun. But we haven't had that death in top side. Instead, it's bot side that we're seeing a lot of that death. Bio comes down and easily slaughters another Rel.
I mean, he gets the full clear down, and yeah, they just take down Enthrall. Doesn't have the flash. We talked about the need for that summoner spell. Hextech flash, not going to do it this time around. So it is going to be another kill going over to Sushi for the time being. And with that in mind, the Dragon next up on the menu. Meanwhile, Will, recognizing that, going to go for the grub. So we did see a trade in game number 1, a lot cleaner, like you mentioned, not just the top side, but I would say the game flow in general is a lot less, is a lot more polished than what we saw in that first game of this set. So I like to see it from both squads as Bio might be picked. He doesn't have priority in either lane.
Oh no, good boy, and Enthralled, really making use of the fact that the Dragon was the right answer. You knew that Bio was headed over there, and you make use of that, pick up the kill. Now on the top side, Hoarder having the same issue as that's a counter strike and getting away from the head, but very well done by Hoarder, drawing attention up there.
And they saw the Alistar on the top side of the map. You can see Enthralled and Good Boy. They are going to be racing to try and push this lane in. They know Sushi doesn't have the flash available. It's coming up soon, but it's not going to be in time. They're looking for the dive. Good Boy just got level 6. Sushi just got the same. Yeah, he's going to try to use that to thin out the wave. I think that might just do it. Well played by the Ezreal to dissuade any further aggression by the bot side of Hoarder's Horde.
Either you thin the wave or you thin the HP bars. It's one or the other at that point. Yeah, or both. Hoarder saying, I'll do both as well. Hopping forward, Dragoon is quite low. And Hoarder, having run that Ruby Crystal early, plus the Door and Shield, gathered a lot of extra HP over Dragoon, which is nice. But one of the lane matchups that we have seen go a little bit of right is 5 Mini here in the mid lane. Down at about 15 CS deficit, and Darkwing's still holding on. And now on the top side, we're seeing Dragoon get jumped on, trying to run away as quick as possible. No season assist, and that's going to be a pulverized. Mega Gnar just came up, but it's not going to come through. Bio realizing maybe he jumped in a little bit too early. You're now going to try and duke it out. That's the counter strike up, and that's a spell shield nullified, and it's going to be a double kill coming out for Will. Well played.
Bio too late, overcommitting, dies in the 1v2, and it's 2 kills given over to Will. And although the Vi, I'm not expecting it to be the carry in this comp, certainly is nice to have, right? It's one of your frontline pieces. It's one of your primary engages. So being able to get it gold this early in the game, certainly going to be a valuable commodity later down the line. And I like what we're seeing from Hoarder's Horde. It was a bit shaky in the early phases, but now it feels like they've really come into their own. It's 2 kills to Good Boy, 2 kills to Will. They've got their win con set up. They've got their strong points up. And now it's just a matter of being able to further that.
I also like the fact, though, that Bio even went for that. I think a possible idea is you say, hey, Dragoon was about to hit Mega Gnar. Maybe you could have played off of that. So maybe that comes into play later on as well with the defensive paranoia. Will, though, realizing that, hey, we are going to be down here. Sushi and Mixture should see this as well with the walking over a pink ward. And that's the call down. 5 Mini just rotated in, saying hello from the other side. Sushi and Mixture not deterred at all.
Sushi and Mixture going to catch this wave. So the priority currently favoring the side of Hoarder's Horde, but I like the standpoint from Bio. He wants to just try and get a foothold on this Dragon. They want to try and get an objective of their own. Will does not have that cease and desist, so there really is no easy way into the team fight unless you have Enthralled willing to go for a big Magnet Storm, but they're currently being pushed in. Sushi and Mixture are trying to own this Primal. Will's going in anyway. Oh boy, here we go. He's 2 levels up.
Yeah, and that's actually the problem, because Darkwing's actually peeled off. Thought this was going to be their own. They didn't properly kind of figure that the rest of the lanes are going to come in. So this is a Dragon taken away. Easy pick up by Will. And now you get to crash down into the Magnet Storm, and there's no way Darkwing is out. In goes the Paranoia just to try and draw everyone off, but the death already comes through. Sushi hopping over the wall to do some work, but there's a cease and desist. Brings the ball close. Bio is going to fall. And guess who's running the corner? Mixture and Sushi have nowhere to go. A Charm lands. The cleanse is good, but you're still in the thick of them. You have no way out. It is 3 for the price of none. Well done by the side of the Hoarders.
And it's the dragon as well to Buddhist Mixture!
Oh.
Sniped down by the goodest of boys in the 80 carry roll. What a first 10 minutes for the side of Hoarder's Horde. They are really taking these matchups. They're taking this game number 1, and they're absolutely running away with it. And all of that, I have to think, comes down to Will. He goes into the pit undeterred, 1v2, who cares? The Vi looks for the kill, upgraded by Mini at his side, and they run with the game. Enthralled joins with the Magnet Storm, engage on layers, and then they just pick them off one by one. So beautifully executed team fight coming out from them, and it's putting Dragoon's Goons on their toes.
I think another part is, again, Hoarder's Horde recognizing that, hey, we are stronger at this point. You mentioned the fact that you want to get off to a good start with a 1-4 position. Well, at this moment, Will and Good Boy are strong. Hoarder might not be really far up there, but it's enough. So pushing
enough for sure.
even in the dark. I love the fact that they made that call. At this point, that's now 2 defensive paranoias that have been used. Bio is being pushed into a corner on this champion, and I have to say, it's gotta feel a little bit frustrating.
And it's Hoarder now with the 5 grubs. We talked about this into the draft, Jax. You really want to prevent this champion from getting that side lane extra commodity, and he got just that. So it's going to be a very difficult 4-1 for the side of Dragoon's Goons to actually deal with. Because not only are you dealing with a prevalent side lane threat, but you're also dealing with the 5-1 Kai'Sa, the 2-0 Vi, now the 1-0 Ahri that is only going to get stronger as this game goes on. You can see he just have health mixture with one combo of abilities. So they're going to have to force a fight. They're going to have to maybe find a Paranoia Shockwave combo in order to turn this game around, because barring any of that, it feels like this is a gold lead. This is a state in the game that Hoarder's Horde can just kind of run away with, similar to what happened in game number 1.
Game number 1, and then some as well. This is that piece that I'm sitting there going, man, this is going to be really, really interesting to watch for. Granted, at the same time, we are still saying, if you look on the side of Dragoon's Goons, if you can level out, if you are somehow able to level out, kind of negate some of this bleeding that's been going on, maybe there's a chance you can get some kills back, especially as shutdown here. Sushi, though, true shot barrage, air balls to the side as you were just looking to clear the minions, and Sushi has to run. You aren't running from a Kai'Sa, though. This is exactly how you want to play it. A flash in to ensure that Good Boy is unstoppable, and you can dive this all day long. Cow Meat is on the board. Good Boy with another double kill. Topside, though, Hoarder saying, yo, what's up? Paranoia coming down, though. This is the right time to do it. Bio, though, doesn't get the tether on the fear, which means the Roma by Mini in a 3v2 action grants Mini some more. It's 2 down on the top side, as this is Hoarders running the show.
Hoarder manages to survive, reels in the top side of the Dragoon's Goons. And they absolutely get crushed. It's a kill going over to Will. It's a kill the Mini. A beautiful roam by the Ahri. And finally, for the first time in this game, Hoarder gets himself some plates. He's able to flex having those 5 grubs. And boy, is he loving it.
Hoarder's just like, let it sink in, guys. I'm good up here. I am good. But we mentioned it, the ability of a team to leverage their own skills, their own strengths in this composition to help out the top lane. I mean, Hoarder knew that they were playing into a rough spot, and they have still managed to stay even. They've been able to utilize the rest of their team, being able to come out on top. I love the fact that the Hoarders have done so well here. Now, we want to see them accelerate this, right? We want to see this pacing pushed to the absolute maximum, because Mini getting those 2, getting that kill and a couple assists on the top side now has Malignance. You're able to roam even harder than you have been. Will and Mini, I expect to be in the enemy jungle at this point.
And similar to Will and Mini, I feel like the combination of Good Boy and Mini is equally as important, right? Because that charm gives you access with the killer instinct to go for those engages. And when you're so fed on the Kai'Sa, you should be undeterred in going for a lot of these exchanges. You should be going in, fighting, looking for things to do as Dragoon, trying to get a solo kill into Mini, but the Herald has been dropped. He's getting pinched as now he goes away from Mega.
Oh, and this is actually pretty rough. Dragoon had a rough time there, but was happy to bite it out. But of course, you're still going to go down. But That was actually very rough. I think Dragoon did about as much as you could have.
Yeah, I mean, he was caught between a rock and a hard place. He was
Yeah.
about to get dope, so he had to take the fight to 5-Mini, but little does he know, 5-Mini's got reinforcements of his own. So now, with nothing basically happening on the bot side of the map, Bio's going to be able to take that Dragon, but you're losing 2 turrets in response. Hoarder's Horde, for what happened to them in game 1, they are getting revenge here in game number 2. This is the exact same thing on the opposite side.
And they're loving it every single moment. Bio trying to steal away a couple cams, but slowly getting poked out. Good Boy and Enthralled are actually going to chase. Good Boy might even be willing to go over the wall if Hoarder can get around there as well. With the Ocean Dragon to play for in about 4.5 minutes, we are sitting there going, okay, how else is this going to work? And honestly, we do have to look at Dragoon's Goons. How do you come back from this? Is there a possibility to come back? Because at this point, that's your game plan, right? Your game plan is, how the heck do we make it back in this game?
I mean, if this was the gold lead at Worlds, then I feel like a lot more people would be saying NA is actually saved, but Bio is not saved as Hoarder picks up his first of the game. Every single member of Hoarder's Horde is officially on the board here in game number 2. But to answer your question, how do the Dragoon's Goons come back? I think it has to be with team fighting, right? We talked about how their 5v5 is strong, but as it stands, Dragoon himself has not left the top lane. This Gnar has not had the opportunity to see any of his teammates except for Bio, who has made a few quick visits here and there.
I think not only that, Bio has just been punished every single time. TP now, though, on the top side. This is going to be Hoarder. We're going, yo, I don't like that you're taking my tower, and I will make you pay. Of course, the stun doesn't come through for Hoarder, but it is going to be Enthralled to say, I got a stun for you. Dragoon is going to be smashed into that wall, and it will be a kill for Hoarder. Second for them.
I mean, you have to go for something like that, right? You don't have a tower, you don't have space to play with, and neither does Sushi as he gets aggressed on.
Oh, Sushi, not enjoying this one. You are the ADC, but unfortunately ADC is dead. Bio coming in to try and get another fear, but it's only going to be a delay. Flash in as Will is on a rampage, and mid is going to fall.
Mid lane going down. Darkwing's gonna be on the bot side, maybe try to trade back a turret, but I have to think, if you're not in the mid lane, if you're not able to defend your tower, you're going to lose more than you gain, because not only is that mid tower going to fall, they're going to push in the top lane. They're maybe even going to take this second tower. The mid lane wave is thinning, but here comes another one, and with 5 grubs, the map is opening up for the Hoarder's Horde.
They're keeping that pacing alive. They're keeping every single kill that they get. They're looking for more. This is the appropriate response when you have a gold lead this far. You are saying, look, every avenue should be another objective behind. You should never be leaving anything to waste. I love what they're doing right now. 1.5 minutes still towards Baron, 2 minutes till Dragon comes up, so you are able to push out, maybe look towards that bottom inner tower to take as well.
For sure. There's a lot of gold still on the table for Hoarder's Horde, but there's even more gold for Dragoon's Goons. They've only gotten those 2 towers. They just want to try and find an avenue to make this team fighting comp go into a fight 5v5, but there has been absolutely no opportunity. Every single time it's been Hoarder's Horde beating them to the punch, putting Dragoon, throwing him in the side lane, and never letting him leave. So this 5v5 comp, hell, we haven't even seen a Paranoia Shockwave combo come out from Darkwings and Bio yet. That is how bad it has gotten, as maybe a solo kill on the top side.
Oh, I mean, Hoarder, I feel like Hoarder really does actually want to try and fight this as well. Like, hey, can I limit test? But Dragoon is a little bit too strong at this point. Even though we said has never left in his 0-4, can still output a lot of damage with that Triforce. So the appropriate measure is for Hoarder, step back, don't give more gold over to the rest of the team, which in itself is once again a very good call to make. You call in the reinforcements. The 8, 1, and 3 Kaisa is the best reinforcements you could ever ask for. A final pin missile is not going to land as Good Boy says, all right, we kill an instinct in there and go legendary.
It's going to be another kill going over to Good Boy. 9, 1, and 3, 2 items. Hoarder's going to manage to get his reset. The wave on top side, not in a compromising position to the point where he has to threaten a side lane, so he can just join up with the rest of his squad, as well as looking for a kill of his own.
That's just I mean, Dark Wings has tried their best, has a massive CS lead and everything, but just hasn't been able to land those shockwaves, and will in 5 mini, ensuring that the team fight combination will never appear.
For sure. They're just deterring them at every single step. They're never letting them group up. They're never giving them an inch out of fear that they will take a mile. So it's going to be the Dragon coming on up, and it doesn't matter if Bio is on the same side. It doesn't matter if there are 4 members of Dragoon's Goons. They are 9,000 gold behind, and they have no choice but to concede this objective. And with Baron up, I have to think the Hoarders Horde, they're perfectly comfortable, you know, once they get another pick to just pivot on over to that and put these games, wrap a nice little ribbon around it and say, all right, let's go to game number 3.
Now they get to play the other side and have to figure out how they want to deny such a game exchange. Keep in mind they'll be playing the exact same comp on the other end, and they'll have the Ezreal, the Gnar, the Nocturne, and all the likes, and that's kind of the fun of this exercise. But of course, we still have to see the game end, because for all that it's worth and how much gold they've had, they slowed down, I want to say, on the pure tower taking aggression part. They have swapped focus to those global objectives, saying, hey, even though we're ahead, we do want that confirmation, that safety value that the global objectives do bring.
For sure, and I like their split here. The dream scenario for them. Hoarder is on the bot side, has the TP, but now the fight has started.
That's actually really dangerous. A little bit of a desync as in goes the Rel once again, but they do have enough gold that they might be able to bait it out. Hoarder gets a double counter-strike off. Mixture is able to help out, but there's nothing else. The backline is destroyed. Hoarder, though, is actually going to go down. Dragoon gets a slam against the wall. Sushi is able to pop off damage, and right now the Ezreal is firing away. A few more Mystic shots may be able to keep him off, but honestly, that was messy. 5 mini and Will, though, surviving to push some lanes.
I mean, that was the best we've seen from the side of Dragoon's Goons all game long. They get the 5v5, they get the jump, they get so many kills, and finally some gold into their pockets. But realistically, how many more times can you recreate that? How many more times can you bait the side of Hoarder's Horde into you? And I feel like the answer is not a lot. So although it is gold into their pockets, I mean, they will, at the end of the day, I would say it's more of a worth fight for them. But it feels like, if I'm Hoarder's Horde, I'm never letting that happen again. One successful team fight out of 22 minutes worth of exchanges is not the best sign. So unless they can kind of accelerate the pace of this game, get more team fights, I feel like they aren't going to be able to get any objectives or any meaningful change in gold with those wins.
I think it even came as a surprise for them. I want to point out the fact that if you look back at that fight, it was a bounce out by Enthralled. Will went in. Their fight understanding was a little bit disjointed, so I 100% agree. We shouldn't really see anything like that happen again, especially with the setup that the teams are throwing down here around this Baron. Once again, Enthralled in position to try and lay down some wards. Baron actually started up now by Will and Hoarder running interference.
And they've got a good amount of vision laid down, but a blue ward is going to spot them out. The Baron just dropping below 10k. They're trying to take it as fast as possible. The fight might have been started as Paranoia drops.
Yep, Hoarder, though, said, nah, not even a chance. You're fighting on our ground now. Hoarder is still running interference, and in goes 5 mini. 5 mini says, yo, what's up? Baron smited away, and now Will can join the rest of the fight. This is the battle that the rest of the Horde thought was going to happen. Will with the bloody cleanup and the 2-piece handed to Good Boy for the ace for the Horde.
And it's a beautiful day to be Good Boy. 11-2-9 on the Kaisa. Credit to Will for surviving in the 3v1, but the firepower coming from the Void Daughter herself. Now, the Baron surviving on 3 members. I like the split that we're seeing. Will on the top side of the map. They're just trying to thin out the respawning members of Dragoon's Goons, but Will maybe wants to look for a fight. He's 4 levels up on Bio Orbital.
Level 3 ultimate, by the way. Bio's like, yeah, I know that's there. Please don't remind me. This kind of hurts. For all that it's worth, though, the first push only gives 1 tower. So, you know, breathe a little bit of sigh of relief for about a minute before Dragon comes up, and you're like, crap, we got to fight for that too. Right now, Dragoon's Goons in full panic mode. Try and clear out the lanes, get a little bit more gold, and mitigate losses coming up.
But I feel like they're not going to be able to mitigate the loss that is going to happen in about 30 seconds here. The Dragon, the soul point, up and available for the side of Hoarder's Horde. They've got the ultimates back, but they just don't have the team fighting as Bio.
Just within range for sight, by the way. Here's the difference. Are you going to lose your life for it? Take out the ward with you. Rest of the team is coming in. Good Boy has nothing. Zanya's, or at least the stopwatch is used, and I think Good Boy is going to go down here, so pay the price of the piper. As the shutdown goes Mixture's way, that would have been huge on one of the carries. Will now getting chased down a little bit, but 5 minutes right there.
I mean, it's a kill, but it's a gold going over to the Alistar. Good Boy going to be gone for the Dragon, but so is Bio. So at the end of the day, it's still Hoarder's Horde keeping control of that bot side, even furthered by the fact that, like you said, they take that turret, they get even more space to work with, and it's another kill, but realistically, it doesn't buy you anything at this point.
I think the only thing is it buys you another like 2 minutes. Right now, with the focus being swapped onto the global objectives once again, the pacing has slowed down already. You can see Will clearing out that Dragon. You could see the most likely grouping of 1-4 position for the Horde here coming up now that they have cleared all the global objectives out. How much are they going to get, though, is my big question. Are we going to see that just hard 5 push or the 1-4 or a 1-3-1? Honestly, the world's your oyster.
I feel like you just go for a 4-1 at this point. This is what the comp is made for, as Will tries to go for an engage. I mean, he's level 17, invincible, kind of like the show, but he's not going to test that out at the end of it. I wouldn't want to be invincible from the show, because he very much is invincible. And Will, I think, is at a better point than he ever will be. But yeah, I want to see them go for a 4-1, right? This is what the comp was made for. This is why you drafted what you drafted. You go for the 4-1 split. You make that side lane threat very prevalent. You choke out Dragoon's goons. I think when you're so far ahead, you have the ability to stick with your comp's original plan, even if another plan might be better and get you the win faster.
And honestly, utilizing 5 mini on the flank option, 6-0 and 6, by the way, huge game change up from game number 1. Understanding that the Ahri matchup, you're not meant to outright directly face the Orianna. Go ahead, rotate out, help out. Has picked up so much extra gold and now can be a mainstay player. And hey, I'm sneaky damage. If you don't actually respect me, I will take you down. The play between this bot and mid jungle side is going to prevail, as you called it, Quacks. Here's the 4-1. Go ahead. If you are the Horde, push in for this inhibitor. At least lock that down.
And it also hurts that they don't have a tower to defend this, so they have to send more members to try and guard it, meaning that Hoarder can just go on up, push the wave in. Dragoon is busy having to clear that one out, so it buys them a little bit of space to just move on in. Now, we're in a 5v5 situation. Dragoon is about to go Mega. The question is, will they go for it?
Yes, they will. Counter-Strike is down, and this is a bloody brawl. The team fight is working, and throw it in the back line, though. Gets a multi-stun on the carries, and that might be enough to break it out. The wallet diff is too big. Quite honestly, the engagement was perfect from the goons. However, the Horde is too wealthy, and it will be a double kill for Hoarder, and then some, as Mixture cannot mix their way out of this one. It will be an ace for the side of Hoarder's Horde, as they will take this game 2 and go ahead and say thank you very much for the lesson.
And the lesson has been taught. Dragoon's goons going down there. Like you said, they had a really good engage on that last fight, but the gold difference, the wallet difference was too big. I have to think, you know, you give maybe 5,000 more gold over to the side of Dragoon's goons, and you could have potentially turned the entire game around with a fight like that, right? You got the wombo combo of your dreams that your comp is completely tailor-made, built around to do. You finally found it, but you found it too late. They were all on the side of Hoarder's Horde. They were all too strong. They were all too relevant. That early game really just set that game in motion, and they were the ones that put the final nail in the coffin with that team fight.
I was honestly really scared. I was actually watching on the other side, and we saw Hoarder use a Counter-Strike, and I was like, I don't know. I wish my face cam was on for that, because I was like, oh boy, that's like the go signal to go in. And it was also read by Bio, who we mentioned before. Bio, very aggressive jungler, very, very technically savant, and said, hey, I know that that's down. That's a huge stun aspect. So we're still seeing those reads. We're still seeing the fact that these players understand the mechanics And that's why I love the fact that you pointed out 5K more might have made a difference. Well, guess what? They now get a chance to show their own stuff with the
Yup.
exact same composition, and we'll see if it's the same song and dance. Please don't go anywhere. The Path2Pro Combine will continue with one final match in just a bit.
I feel it in my bones. A spark to lead us through the shadows. But can I fight the way before me? It's coursing through my soul. A road to guide us through the sorrow. Can I calm this storm inside me? I feel it in my bones. A spark to lead us through the shadows. Can I fight the way before me? It's coursing through my soul. A road to guide us through the sorrow. Can I calm this storm inside me? This storm inside me.
Time to see if the shoes fit on another foot as we get underway with our final game of the evening. Once again, we are still here with the same 10 players. It is Dragoons Goons and, of course, Hoarders Horde. But, of course, with the draft now shifted, we are going to be seeing the likes of Dragoons Goons on that blue side with the Jax, with the Vi, the Ahri, the Kai'Sa, and the Rell, and vice versa on the other side.
And I mean, we saw the Jax, Vi, Ahri, Kai'Sa, Rell combo absolutely dominate in game number 1, right? So seeing it on the other side of the coin is going to be really interesting because these have been essentially 2 back-to-back stumps that we have covered, right? The game number 1, absolute slugfest, ended by about, I believe, like 23 minutes. And then this one, not super far behind, like game number 2, not super far behind. This time around, though, I'm interested to see if the game is going to be closer because what we saw in game number 2 was we saw finally, as soon as the game was essentially on death's door, we saw the team fight combo of the Gnar and the Nocturne and the Orianna come through, but the wallet gap was just too huge. So I want to see if the early game doesn't go as crazy as it did in game number 1 and 2. I want to see if we can have more drawn out games where we're on even footing to really showcase the strengths of both of these comps that we had mentioned in game number 2, right? We've got the Jax with the side lane presence. We've got that 4-1 that the blue side draft really wants to go for. Other side, completely team fight oriented. And one player that we really want to point out, you and I, Orbital, is Bio on this Vi. This guy, at least according to my research on Leaguepedia, has never lost a Vi game. So he is comfortable as hell on this champion. And I'm really excited to see how he pairs up with the rest of the team.
I mean, we already know how well Bio can play in general, and the fact now that we are going to see Dark Wings try and emulate, or maybe even say, hey, give my style back, with how roam heavy the Ahri was for 5 Mini, it was fantastic. But I do want to see, as you mentioned, the Nocturne and the Orianna actually come online a little bit earlier. Game 2, we didn't really get to see those win cons come to life. This time around, we're hoping the Gnar, the Nocturne, the Orianna, the Ezreal, even the Alistar on the bot side for the side of the Horde is going to have a lot more life to them earlier on. And I think that all starts, I want to lay down a personal prediction in that bot lane, which spiraled so quickly out of control in game number 2.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely insane. Good Boy managing to get so many kills in the early game. Using that killer instinct aggressively really was the key, right? Oftentimes we see Kai'Sas who are afraid to go into those exchanges, but Good Boy was never deterred in the slightest. So Sushi, arguably a top 3 AD carry in the tier 3 amateur scene, probably has that same capability, and I want to see him use it here. I want to see him follow up with some of these charm engages, some of these picks from Dark Wings and Bio, and just go absolutely ham.
I mean, right now, that's what's going to happen. It's almost like we are in a pure game 3, so let's throw it in to the game itself. The cup is on the line of day 4 of this combine. I mean, listen, they're still playing for some guts and glory out there, which hopefully is going to be a lot of fun. Once again, getting into this matchup, it's going to be very interesting. Keep in mind, we saw a roam up to the top side in game number 2, and it looks like it's actually being mirrored once again. This idea of bringing this 4-man squad and trying to kick in the doors on this Jax is still very prevalent.
And it does mean that we are likely going to get some form of information in terms of tracking those junglers level 1. You can see the stat coming out from the Dragoons Goons anticipating there might be an aggressive level 1, but they have the numbers to potentially walk in. They're all here. They want to try and get some tracking onto where Will might be. But on the flip side, despite some wards being placed down by the side of Hoarders Horde, they aren't going to really be able to tell where Bio is at this point in the game. They aren't going to be able to track the Vi. So that's a small little micro advantage from the side of Dragoons Goons. And I'm interested to see how they use the extra bit of information that they could have.
I mean, the information right there, Dark Wings is like, I need something. Right now, the entirety of this jungle is pretty much dark. The only ward that we saw come out for this side of the Horde as well was down at that tri-bush, which again doesn't give that much info. So we're just like, dang, okay. Right now, junglers are actually starting on opposite sides of the map, both starting on their red side buffs, or at least one red side. The other one is the Raptors for Will. So already a shakeup once again from game 2.
And I kind of like this move from Bio. What we saw in game number 2 was a lot of push by the Gnar, bullying out the Jack. So being able to assist this pick in a rough laning phase matchup early could set up that win con better than what we saw in game number 2, which was a very rough game for Hoarder on that pick when he was against the Gnar. So I like the pivot coming out from Bio, recognizing that he just needs to assist that lane. He doesn't need to necessarily get it ahead. He just needs to pad the danger that he's in for those first few levels.
And just try and bridge that gap. Make sure that you are up and above. Sushi and Mixture, of course, hitting that level 2 down on the bottom side. Feeling pretty okay. But top side, oh my god. I was not expecting to see this level. Yeah, like this level of variance. And Hoarder is trying to utilize this Mega Gnar for the little time it has left. But Dragoon is more than willing to wait it out. Rock not going to land as well. Neither is a Slam. So Hoarder actually has to back away.
And I'm wondering with the health bars now, if maybe Bio wants to look for some sort of a different pathing. We can already see he's actually not going to the top lane. He's going down toward the bot side. He has push in bot lane. Mixture and Sushi shoved into that wave. And they're going to look for a potential kill onto Will. Will does not spot them. They're coming and wrapping around. They spot him on the Grump, but I don't think they're going to be able to kill him unless they contest the objective.
Oh, Mixture getting flashed on here and is able to bounce their way out. So Bio doesn't want to join in either. Very nice call in. I like this set of both sides responding very appropriately, which honestly everyone in this combine has. That's actually going to be a headbutt pulverize. I wasn't sure it was going to land in Mixture. Actually, I think it's going to get run down. Q does land from the Nocturne, but body blocking is going to be there. Flash sword and the shield at the end. Shield out, Micro's good. Bio able to give first blood over to Sushi. Bio lives as well. Now Sushi has a wave on their side. Good boy trying to run away. Huge proc on the autos. Sushi can't land the last one though, so now you're just running with the level 3. Are you going to chase forward ever further? Will does that flash, gets over the big part of the wall, and it's disaster. Honestly, follow through from the side of the Horde, but dang, did the Goons make it look good on their end.
I mean, I was going to say good persistence to chase down Mixture and go for that kill because I thought he was gone. He uses the flash over the wall. They continue the chase. The shield, though, narrowly saving him and giving an opportunity for Bio and Sushi to put their foot on the gas. Sushi going 100 miles an hour into all of the members of Hoarder's Horde, gets himself some early gold with that kill. And now they set themselves up for a solid early game in this bot side. This is exactly what we saw in game number 1, Orbital. Or game number 2.
A lot of games tonight. This is such a treat, though. And I'm loving the mechanical prowess that these teams are showing off. These players individually are really stepping up. And I want to point out once again, how quick a lot of these players are responding. One of the things that I love about Combines is you get to see how well these teams, these kind of makeshift squads get thrown together. Yes, some of them have played together all the time. Like, it was, I think Bio and Enthralled had played before together. But seeing these players mesh so quickly, it's awesome to see, and testing the reactionary times to help out their jungler, help out their laners and everything. It's so good.
I'm surprised when you were mentioning, players that have played together. You didn't mention Sushi and Mixture. These guys have been two peas in a pod for the better part of this entire year. This has been one of the strongest duos, and we're seeing that now in game number 3. Is they're absolutely on a tear with this combo, and Darkwings himself is on a tear. He's going to bully out 5 Mini. Mixture goes in.
Very nice buffer as well. Make sure that headbutt denies, make sure any sort of crash down. And Sushi's like, yeah, we're chilling right now. Top side, though, man. Again, we mentioned that the Jax does have some struggles, but Dragoon is playing this at just the right range that, okay, Sushi. Okay. Listen, Quacks, that's not chill. You don't get to give, like, the cheerleader buff to Sushi, who just straight up gets a kill like that.
I mean, it's the reverse cast curse. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, oh boy, is it sweet. Sushi with yet another kill, finding his prey on the Kaisa. I like Bio utilizing the priority that he has to go for this dragon, but Will is waiting in the corner. I think it's going to come down to a smite bite now that 5 Mini is here.
Oh, Bio got early. Will smited, 150 left. Bio's like, whew, that one's mine.
I mean, really good weight from Bio, actually. I think Will was anticipating that the auto would put it within smite range, but Bio holds that last denting blows auto and then combos it with his smite, kind of baiting out Will to go for that summoner spell first. And it is what gets him the objective. And now with priority on the top side of the map, with Bio now on this side, he could potentially look for some action to try and contest these grubs, but Dragoon taken very low, Hoarder taken low as well. Paranoia not available for the side of the Nocturne, so it's not going to be a kill at the end of the day, but with Enthralled up toward this top side first, they do start the grubs, but they aren't going to finish them.
I don't think they can. Will didn't want to take that chance either, and that's kind of the control factor that we've been seeing, but it does leave Bio and Mixture a chance to take them away on their own, and at least you'll get 1, maybe 2, and 3, as Darkwings is even here to help out. Remember, the roaming for the R in game number 2 was such a pivotal role for 5 Mini, and now you get a crash in as well, and Thrall doesn't have that unbreakable will that we always talk about in Alistar needing right now. Mixture taking him a little further and setting up the stun, but Darkwing actually has to get out. Fear is going to be used as Will. Now it's Rumble to dive into the tower as it's slam against the wall. A dive like once again, but Darkwing is going to fall. 2 more tower shots are going to land as Dragoon will lose their life as well. In the end, it doesn't even matter as it's a double kill for Will and 3 overall.
And it's a good attempt on the dive, but Darkwings just goes a little too far. His teammates try to back him up, but they fall in the attempt, and the result is 2 kills over to this Nocturne. And Will, one happy camper. I mean, sure, you lose the grubs. Bio manages to pick those ones up, but getting some gold into that engage, getting some gold into that pivotal carry on Will, very, very important, as now 5 Mini has found himself between a rock and a hard place.
Beautiful buffer from Bio as well. Almost well, it is a very good read saying, yeah, you're not going to get me with that one.
Yeah, and I mean, he did have the flash available, but Bio's buffer, like you said, completely holding him in his tracks, so doesn't manage to really flex that interaction yet. Could see that, you know, being relevant later, but for the time being, a lot more fight between both of these teams than what we saw in game number 2. We asked for a close game. We asked for a more drawn-out game to conclude us on the broadcast today. And both of these teams, with a salute on their minds, saying yes, sir, to that.
And I think we also see a massive shift in terms of where this game is actually going to lead to. Remember, Bio, last time the Vi in game number 2 had a lot of kills, had a lot of pressure, had a lot of agency, and this time around it's actually Will on the Nocturne. That has the 2 kills, that has priority, that has damage output. How badly is this going to shift? Okay, I can't even talk about that. I wanted to talk a little bit more. Okay, good boys out. How does this change the dynamic, knowing that the Nocturne will actively be, hopefully, proactive with those paranoias?
I mean, it certainly is going to be a big deal because you've got, he is the one that is essentially the big go button that 5 Mini and Enthralled and Hoarder and all the other members on this red side squad of the Hoarders Horde want to play for, right? The go button is that paranoia. So having a go button that is not only unafraid to go in potentially toward 3, 4, maybe even 5 people is a big thing. And getting out is also, I would say getting out is a lot harder than getting in, right? Because you have to make sure you're surviving. So giving him these items early on, giving him this ability to get more of that health, to get more of that survivability under his belt is going to mean the engages are going to be a lot less, you know, cost effective for them, right? The risk of losing that engage is a lot lower because he's so far ahead.
I actually like the variation as well. You see the wards on the bottom side of the map for the blue side, heavily warding up deeper in, making sure you can catch the Nocturne early before things go south. So I do appreciate that. Dragoon, for their own, though, playing with almost no abandon. They haven't seen the Nocturne on the bot side, so you can only assume it's on the top side, which is why Bio is also up here. Like, yeah, things can go a little bit spicy. We need to be aware of this one. But Will, not even taking the chance, just clearing out their camp. So Bio is actually taking a storm into this top side. This is actually going to be very... All right, PTSD, they said, okay, last time the dive didn't really work. I don't know if we want to do this again.
Yeah, it would definitely be a risky dive. Hoarder is getting closer and closer to Mega. Dragoon used that counter-strike a little too early. They don't want to risk it, but they want to go into 5 Mini. 5 Mini does have flash.
Oh, and not only that, the Shockwave is available. The combination can very much pop out. But Darkwing's Mixture is just like, let's get the damage.
They get the damage, they get the presence, they scare him off a little bit, and it is going to mean that with 2 members in the mid lane, they get that push, they return the waves in mid to a relatively even state, which means Darkwings can TP on in, Bio can be on that side of the map. He wanted to go for the grubs, but I think now that they know all of the members of Hoarders Horde are on this bot side, they want to go for the fight, they want to go for the action, but No action really around. So yeah, they just return right back to the objectives for the time being.
I mean, these objectives are going to be so spicy. Keep in mind, Hoarder has TP and Dragoon doesn't. So Dragoon is trying to push Hoarder out, make sure that there is no extra TP. Bio's like, we're not even really worried about the Dragon either. We want those 6 grubs that gave the likes of the Horde such a large extended lead when it came to the tower push mechanic. And again, it's a Cloud Drake. Number 1 Cloud Drake, no one, I hate saying it, no one really cares topside though. Dragoon saying, I'm going to make sure you can't do anything of the sort. Solo kill for the Jax.
And this is completely the other direction than what we saw in game number 2. Dragoon getting that solo kill on the other side of the matchup. He was the dominant one in the laning phase when he was on the Gnar, and it doesn't change here on this Jax. He gets himself a solo kill. He is 3-1, 6 grubs. Similar to what we saw in game number 1, that topside objective, that split pushing power from the Jax is alive and well with that buff belonging to him. So we're in a very similar spot than what, compared to what we saw in game 2. The big difference though is how strong that top side is in these first few minutes, or in these first, 13 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna be dangerous, and playing into that 1-4 aspect that we keep mentioning this combination loves will be very fun to see unfold later on. What we're also seeing unfold is Sushi slicing through, said, yo, give me that beef, killing spree for the Kai'Sa once again, mirroring game number 2.
Yep. So strong bot lane, strong top lane. Really, the only big difference is Bio on this Vi. Not as strong as Will was in those first few minutes. Will is actually really strong on this Nocturne, but he is really the only one. And if Nocturne is the only strong champion, the only champion that's able to survive some of the pick tools on the side of Dragoon's Goons, then you realistically don't have much to work off of, right? Because Nocturne is a short-range champion. He'll be going in alone for the most part until that Orianna and that Gnar are able to join on up with him. So I'm wondering how they're going to play around this, and they may have just found themselves a win con here, as now there's a fight.
Oh, Paranoia goes down, though, just to blind everyone out, and the assassination from Will actually draws a better chance. This is going to be the bully as Ceaseless goes in, and Darkwing cannot be caught. The Ahri chases out and singing a song of tempting. Darkwing is able to dash away from the opponents and grab a couple kills.
That was a masterclass in mechanics there by Darkwing. He cancels out Enthralled engage with the charm. He creates space with his ultimate resets that his team is getting for him because they are laying waste to the back line. And he draws them in closer and closer. They cannot catch him because he has that flash. So it is a one fight for the side of Dragoon's Goons. On the top side, their reward will be the Herald. And now Dragoon wants a kill of his own.
Oh, that was a 400 damage bonk. Dragoon smashing away on the bot side, and now 5mini trying to get a kill, is able to get the shutdown, which is very, very helpful. However, damage around the rift is starting to occur. That's 5mini, that's all you've gotten, but Herald goes down over to Bio, and it's feeling so dang good. Will, I don't know if you want this. I'll be honest, Dragoon, even at half health, can do a lot of freaking damage. Fear comes out here, Counter-Strike is up. Will getting out and saying, I don't know if I can get to you. Dragoon getting smited now. Will on the chase, knows Counter-Strike is down, but look at the buff. Damage is actually there. Claw lands, one more is there, but another buff. Will barely able to win out, but that was so damn close.
It's the Conqueror auto, comes in at the last second and manages to get that last tick of damage. Will putting a stop to the Jax's reign of terror. It was a close fight, but Nocturne lands on top, now 3-1 on the pick. They establish some control over this bot side with that as well. Dragoon not being around means that no real frontliner is able to really walk up and establish presence. So you get yourself some wards, you get yourselves some time to scale on up, and you shut down a vital part of the win cons that Dragoon's Goons had going for them.
I still need to see that like 2 or 3 more times. I'm not gonna lie, even though Dragoon went down, I'm like, I need to see that like 2 or 3 more times. I don't think a single kill is going to deter them. Dragoon has still been willing to push as hard as possible, challenge in a 1v1 stance. Now with Triforce plus the steel-plated boot caps, you are going to be running through most everyone. Steel caps, just steel caps. Oh, I'm bad at names. Dragoon going ahead and taking a chunk out as the ball hits him in the face, and that ain't going to be blocked by the boots.
Nope. And the Dragon not going to be shielded this time around, coming up in about 20 seconds. And Dragoon's Goons have control over the bot side of this bot side river. Darkwings on the top side, along with Hoarder, both have teleport as Good Boy. Getting flanked.
Good. Sometimes a good boy doesn't win. That's a cease and desist and a half. Sushi slicing up some more right now. The Cathian Rain bringing death. And guess what now? 5 mini. You're not in a good spot. Mixer can dive this. Oh, so Izzy ball over the wall. And just you are gone. No chance to even drop the ulti as Darkwing picks up their 4th.
Really good map play coming out there from Dragoon's Goons. They separate 5 mini. No, the Orianna with no flash is available for catching. And now Will wants to kill, but he is getting completely collapsed on.
And that's the paranoia to drop it down. Hoarder trying to jump in, but you're mini now. You can't really stay here. I don't think you wanted that at all. Dragoon is going to slay Will, and the Will is broken on the side of this Hoarder horde. Sushi goes in, saying hello.
Ooh.
So does the rest of the team. Good Boy just respawned. Good Boy's like, yo, please let me survive. Another tower shot will take Sushi's life. But the reward is just bringing the hill, baby! Dragoon with a strike and a half gets a kill for themselves, gets the plants behind. Bio allows the charm to hit, and it is destruction and death in the wake of Dragoon's Goons as they take the towers and inhibitors.
And you blink and you miss it, the inhibitor is gone. We're 18 minutes into the game. We asked for a more close game, guys. What are you doing? Dragoon himself with a hit and run, but the cop on the team is the Vi. He's not able to arrest his own teammate. Dragoon's getting 30 years to life with charges like that, but he's going to run away scot-free, teleport back because he wants more.
Do it again. Do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again. Counter-Strike is down. You still got some damage. You don't have the Grandmaster's Might, so you might have to run away. Your cooldown's aren't really there. And maybe you hopped in at the wrong time, and you did. Will able to shut that one down. Gonna burgle their way out with a kill of their own.
And the punishment might not be 30 years to life. It might just straight up be death as, yeah, Dragoon going down, and so is the turret, and so might Sushi be.
Oh my gosh, but Sushi is so strong. Able to still pick up the kill, and now the rest of the team is here. Sushi is fine enthralled, ain't gonna do anything. And you know what? The cops are still around. You go ahead and put the chains on him. That is 3 gone and a triple for Sushi the ADC.
Sushi with confidence goes on up 3v1 undeterred, knows his team has his back. And they get the kills, they get the push. The Baron coming up in about 20 seconds here. And just like game number 2, it is the eyes on the prize. And 5 mini is a bit of a consolation.
At this point, they are cleaning out the carnival. This hurts. If you are a carnival owner, you're like, stop taking all the prizes. I know they're on the board, but you can't keep hitting all of them. Dragoon's like, nah, I still want more. I'm going to get the red buff. It's not even technically ours. Will's like, ah, you really did take it. That sucks. Look at him. He's like recalling now. He's like, I'm sad. I don't want to deal with this right now. Baron is on the table, though. Dragon is at the same. And we are 20 minutes in this game, which at this point, we are in the same position of this blue side being more than available to start pushing down and taking the rest of the base. Hoarder now getting jumped on, has to hop out of Meganar.
And I mean, Meganar having to run away as soon as Gnar gets out of this ultimate form. It's going to go on cooldown, meaning that Dragoon's Goons have a window after they clear out vision to potentially just rush down this Baron Nashor. Realistically, what are Hoarder's Horde going to do? They've got the tools to go in. 5 mini has teleport, but where do you teleport to? There are no flank wards. There's no opportunity, and Dragoon wants to take his opportunity in a 1v2.
All right.
Way too crazy, Dragoon. Come on, buddy.
That's about the 3rd time that Dragoon has tried to fight a 1v2, and honestly, respect. You respect the attempts, especially because you know you're drawing out that fight, just like, I know what my team's doing. I'm still strong. I have no worries. Will on the bot side, though, trying to power farm. Okay, Darkwing. You know what? You're dominating. I get it. You're good. I didn't put enough respect on your name. I'm so sorry. I bow to your greatness.
And Darkwings and Sushi have been absolutely tearing this game up. Bio, a bit of a rough start on the Vi, but we're starting to see why this guy is undefeated at least to our knowledge, on this pick, because he is the best supporting kid. This man is the Jeff Goldblum of the Dragoons Goons. He is always on the supporting cast. He's there for his teammates. He's there to say quippy one-liners and escape. Sushi, escape, going to be the name of the game. He will get out, but he had to expend that flash. So now it's going to be Hoarder's Horde looking at that Kaisa, just trying to get that pick. This is an opportunity for them, and it's going to be up to Dragoons Goons to just never give them that opportunity like they have been doing all late game.
I mean, for the Goons, they go ahead and say, we want to keep our 8K lead, 9K lead or so in our favor. You can see where the gold is currently spread out, 2K over. Dark Wings, huge. Right now, sitting on 1.1. In the jungle, we're seeing about a 200 difference. Top side, though, another 1,000 gold. It is wild days. And then Sushi, of course, do we even need to mention that one? In the mid lane, though, we are seeing a huge fight. In goes the Paranoia. Maybe you found the fight. It is going to be a perfect collapse, but the Magnus Sword keeps them all at bay. And because of that, the 4v5 will be all the side of the Goons. As in comes Dragoon. Smash, rip, and tear. Double kill for the Ari, looking for another tower goes down. There is no safety. Good boy running and running until you can run no more. In comes the Metal Horse as Dragoon will smash home the ace.
And it was beautifully played there by Sushi. Manages to get the killer instinct, gets out of trouble. The CC was not able to lock the Kaisa down. It was a valiant effort, a valiant attempt, but Dragoons Goons smash game 3, and they will take the Nexus.
You know, sometimes you're in a class and you're just too smart for the class. Honestly, both teams showed up there. Game number 2. You know, we talked about how quickly a game can end, and it was the side of the Horde that were able to take game 2 away in a pretty dominating fashion. And yet, we go right back. It's like the teacher's assistant's like, no. Let me show you how to write this story a little bit better. I have to say, the Dragoons Goons looked a little bit cleaner, a lot more stalwart at how they ended this game out.
For sure. I mean, they got one opportunity to really drive this game forward, and they quite literally ran it over. Dragoon got essentially 3 kills with the Herald in the span of 30 seconds, which I don't think I've ever seen in a game, much less a competitive match. So that was an absolutely insane way to really bolster this game up to a win con for the Dragoons Goons, but it worked. Right? Like, it was a slow early game, but the moment Sushi got his items, the moment Dragoon, I would say, got that solo kill onto Hoarder, it felt like the doomsday clock was ticking for the side of Hoarder's Horde. They could do nothing really but try to stall the game out, but then that Herald comes in, the Baron buff gets taken, the dragons are starting to mount, and all of these win conditions just pile onto you, and you snap at that point. And that's exactly what happened in game number 3. They could not bear the weight of all of these micro advantages going the way of Dragoons Goons, and they piled up to just too much.
And it was a blast to watch, honestly. We sit back and say there are so many more weeks of this Combine moving forward, and you know, this is the best part. Again, what you just saw is a microcosm of what is to come, the idea of pitting these players. And again, some of these players may be brand new. We're talking about Phi Mini coming in here as a rookie, facing off against one of the greats in this AMC and in Dark Wings, and being put in scenarios that maybe you're not used to. But we want to see how they adapt, how they overcome, and how they show off their own skills. Quacks, was there anything that really surprised you of these 10 players here today with the 3 matches that we saw?
Dark Wingdom on top, all I'm going to say. Dark Wingdom.
That's not a surprise, though.
Are on the rise. This man is so unbelievably good at the game. No, I would say the big surprise for me was just bio, right? Like, you look across the board for the Dragoons Goons, these are all players that have, you know, either hit their stride in 2024, you know, started in early 2024 or before that, and are famous for being, you know, top of their role. Bio, he came in a few months ago as essentially someone that nobody knew, and now he's going up against some of the greats. He's going to play with some of the greats, and so to see him, you know, on these different champions, to see him pilot both sides of the matchup, even when one, I would say, was clearly better than the other, he is still keeping to his signature style. And so I love to see that innovation come from these newer players. I think Bio, definitely the biggest surprise that has hit tier 3, and certainly a big surprise that I'm hoping people will stick around for to watch, because he is someone I really think should attract all the eyes.
There you go, Bio, someone that we are going to keep into maybe an autobiography down the road. Take a look at their history throughout the entirety of the AM. Of course, all 10 players here today, we want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in, because we have so many more games later on as well. Tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. ET, we will be back to our regular 6-game matches. Again, that's going to be broken down into 2 parts with most likely 10 different players each time. And that's kind of the fun of it. You get to see the best of what the top of AM has to offer. Not only that, we're going to have a different set of broadcasters bringing their own perspectives and their thoughts to this desk. So if you liked what you saw here, hopefully stick around then. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Shout out to Sido GG for going ahead and giving us this opportunity, and Blue Otter League as well for putting on this production. My name is Orbital. With me has been Quacks, and of course we have Owls on the production. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow.